Hi everyone, this is Jasmine Sir of Team Singapore's Shooting Squad, and you are listening to SportsZone on 938 Live.
From 938 Live.
This is Formula One driver Fernando Alonso.
Hi Singapore, I'm Jürgen Klinsmann.
Hi, I'm Martin Tyler.
This is Annika Sorensen.
Hi Singapore, this is Johnny Wilson. You're locked on to the best in sports. Cheers.
You're listening to Singapore's longest running and only sports talk show on radio, 16 years and still going strong. A good Saturday to you and welcome to SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Raj Kumar. And today we turn the focus on the sport of shooting in Singapore. Now, over the last few weeks, you would have heard our golden sharpshooters at the Commonwealth Games, which was followed up with the Youth Olympic Games. And next month, it's the Asian Games in South Korea. And to tell us more about their preparations, targets, youth development, interaction with the community, and so much more, I have three guests in the studio today. They are Jeanine Heng, who's the High Performance Manager at the Singapore Shooting Association. She's joined by our national shooters who won gold at the Glasgow Games a month ago. And they are, of course, Jasmine Sir and Teo Shun Tse. Welcome, ladies, to SportsZone on 938 Live. Jeanine, let's start with you. And let's touch on the latest from the Youth Olympic Games. And we had two of our Singapore teenagers securing for the country and themselves 2 silver medals. First off, we saw 14-year-old Martina Veloso finishing second in the 10 meters air rifle singles event, and that was followed up by Tae Shui-Yi's silver medal in the 10 meters air pistol mixed team events. Jeanine, how would you sum up their performances? I'm very excited. So, how would you sum up their performances in Nanjing? And let's start with your assessment of Martina.
Martina did great. I mean, YOG is her focus for this year. And she worked really hard toward the YOG and she achieved what she set out to do. All other medals or achievements that she gets is really a bonus for us because she's so young. So we don't really want to pressure her into achieving too high results now. Her future is really long. So at this point, we're just trying to maintain her good form. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting to hear, considering that she did well at the World Cup in Germany in June, just before the Commonwealth Games. And what about Shu-Yi? I mean, was this an unexpected medal for her, considering that her partner, her Egyptian partner, I mean, unlike the Hunger Games, for example, you have no clue as to the identity of your partner until 1 or 2 days before the actual competition. So, how do you think she fared?
Well, firstly, for individual event, she shot really well. She finished first in the qualification, so she did really well there. For the mixed event, it's a really new event. We've never shot in it before, and it's the first time YOG is holding the mixed event. It's a very long event because it's over 2 days. So they go from teams of 20, so 20 teams to 16 to 8 to 4 and then to 2. So over the 2 days, she and her partner basically had to maintain their form. The draw is quite simple. They go from the first women with the last male, second to 19, third to 18. So it kind of gives the people in the middle a higher chance of winning. So if you're higher up on the rankings, you tend to be paired with people who are at the bottom on the other side. Right. But for her, because although she finished quite high up, her Egyptian partner who finished 14th, I think, he shot
Ahmed.
Yeah, Ahmed. He shot the best he had ever shot in his life during the mixed event. So we were kind of lucky, and she did her part too. So in that sense, the two of them managed to get the silver medal. Yeah, which we're really happy for them.
So I'm assuming they are bosom buddies by now.
Yeah. We said they have to get married.
It's interesting to also note that Martina was second in the 10-meter air rifle singles event, but in the mixed team event, she was in 13th. And for Shu-Yi, she finished 7th in the 10-meter air pistol singles event. But in the mixed team, she bagged the silver. So one seems to be a specialist being a solo, while the other is strong with a partner. Would you agree to that?
Well, I wouldn't really say that, but because Sui did really do pretty well in the individual event. I mean, she shot a 382, and a 382 score is good enough even to get to an Asian Games final. Wow. Yeah, so maybe for her, she needs to work on her finals a little bit more. As for Martina, she's been maintaining a pretty high performance for many competitions in a row. So I think expecting her to keep doing it is a little bit hard for her. So once in a while, if she doesn't, it's okay. Yeah.
14-year-old Martina.
Yeah.
What was the Shooting Association's initial target set for our athletes prior to their departure for the YOG?
Well, we just said that they need to get into the final to give themselves a chance at a medal.
Was that
and both of them.
I'm sure you're telling us the truth.
Yes, it's the truth.
Just get into the final.
Just get into the final.
No medal expectations.
Yeah, no medal expectation. Because now the new finals format is a little bit different, I'm sure, as you know. So it's kind of anyone's game once you get into the final. So even an underdog could get a medal in the final. So to us, as long as you get into the final, you give yourself that chance to get a medal.
Is this only confined to the YOG, or it's
for everybody?
Games?
Yeah, it's for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about the coach, Chen Ting-ling, and what were his reactions to the 2 silver medals?
Well, we've been very lucky to get him in Singapore. It was luck because it was another coach who was here that introduced him to us, and we hadn't known him from before. He works very well with shooters, and he's really happy. I must say he's one of the coaches that's really proud to be part of our Singapore shooting fraternity. And as the results have been coming in over the past 1 year or so, he's actually very happy to be here in Singapore seeing this progress. And he's really proud of the 2 of them for attaining that. Yeah, he told me a joke. He said in YOG, the Chinese head coach turned to him and said he didn't even want to smile at him. He told him, get yourself back to China.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. You just heard from Jeanine Heng, former national netballer, and now she's the high performance manager with Singapore's Shooting Association. Let's turn the focus now to our double gold medal winning shooters from the Commonwealth Games, starting first with 23-year-old Jasmine Sir. Jasmine, welcome back to SportsZone. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks since the end of the Commonwealth Games, and you came home with the gold medal in the 50-meter rifle 3 positions event. Has it sunk in yet that you are the best shooter in the CWG, which comprises more than 100 countries and territories as far as this 3 positions event is concerned?
Well, I think maybe I was best during that day, competing with everybody. But that chapter is closed. I mean, I'm sure you know that being best in one competition doesn't mean that you're going to be the best again next time, like just what happened to my 10 meters. So I'm looking forward to my next competition, and I was very happy that my hard work had paid off and brought me a medal. Yeah.
It's good stuff. Now, by the way, for the benefit of our listeners, could you briefly explain about the 3 positions event?
So in a 3 positions event, as the name says it, there are 3 positions starting from kneeling, followed by prone, whereby you shoot lying on the floor, and then the last one is standing, which is the most difficult and the toughest one. And
it's all at 50 meters?
And it's all at 50 meters distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, you came to Glasgow as the defending gold medalist in the 10-meter rifle singles, but you finished 4th this time round, like you said. Looking back now, what happened in the finals for the singles?
Well, I think there are ups and downs in every sports, and you just got to face it. And during that day, it wasn't my top form, and I wasn't in my top form. And there are some improvements to be made for my 10 meter, especially for the event. And I've been making these improvements, and hopefully the next one will be better.
As in possibly the World Championships or the Asian Games?
Exactly, yes.
You also won gold 4 years ago in New Delhi together with Akila Sudhir in the 50-meter rifle 3 positions pairs event. And I understand this doubles event was not featured in Glasgow. Do you know what was the reason for the exclusion?
Well, I'm not very sure the exact reason, but I think they are trying to follow Olympic disciplines events. Like in the Olympics, there are only singles events. There are no doubles or pairs. So this time round, they scrape off the doubles, and it's exactly like the Olympic format. But there's only one exception for 50-meter prone woman. That is not an Olympic event. But they still continue to put it in this Commonwealth Games, and that was the 3rd event that I participated in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's singles, and like you said, no pairs event. Is there a team event?
No, in the Olympics, there's only singles. There's no pairs, no teams, and yeah.
Okay. And before we talk about your Glasgow experience, before we talk more about your Glasgow experience, let's hear from 25-year-old Teo Shun Xie, who was victorious in the 10-meter air pistol event. Shun Xie, you finished in 14th place 4 years ago in New Delhi in this same event. So how did you go from 14th to the gold medal?
4 years is a very long time, and probably the perseverance, hard work, and guidance from the coaches that led me to where I am now. And also the experience that I gained throughout the 4 years from the different competitions. So to me, every competition, I try to treat it like a training for the next competition. So you try and draw learning lessons, what are the things you need to improve on for your next competition, and then it's the constant improvement that you have to make.
Did the change in the scoring system after the 2010 games have anything to do with your golden moment this time around in Glasgow?
Definitely, because I didn't do well for my qualification. So I think I was about 5-6 points away from...
Which qualification? This time or 4 years ago?
The new qualification for Glasgow.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do well for the qualification. So I think the point difference from me and the first position was about 5-6 points.
Okay.
And if you were following the old format, right, I would have to catch up 5-6 points with just that 10 shots. But in the new format, everybody starts from scratch, starts from zero. So it gives me another chance to catch up again.
In simple terms, all your scores in the qualification round are wiped out.
Yep.
Everybody starts fresh as they go into the
finals.
The finals.
Yeah.
Okay. You're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live, and today we are reviewing the performances of our national shooters from the Commonwealth and Youth Olympic Games and looking ahead to the Asian Games. And to tell us more about the current sport of shooting in Singapore, we have national shooters Jasmine Sir and Teo Shun Sieh, along with a high performance manager at Singapore's Shooting Association, Jeanine Heng. Shun Sieh, let's come back to you again. What sort of a personal target did you set for yourself just prior to the Games in Scotland?
I didn't really set any medal targets for myself, but to me, I just wanted to achieve my training average. So long as I hit my training average, I will have achieved the target that I set for myself, and I will be happy.
So what was your training average?
To hit at least a 380. But
Is that your... When you say training average, is that a personal best? Is that what you refer to?
No, like throughout the training, because you train, then you roughly know where you stand,
right.
Like how you would fare. So what I wanted to do was to do the same for competition, because I always have this problem of not able to hit my training average during competition.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Now, winning the gold in the 10 meters air pistol, you went ahead to compete in the 25 meters distance, but the furthest that you went, I believe, was the semi-final stage. Can you confirm that? And were you happy with this result, or could you have done better?
For the 25 meter, I was happy for my qualification. I think I did not too bad for my qualification. But for finals, because once again, it's a new final format. So now the final format is you have to shoot 10.2 and above to be counted as a hit. So
Okay.
now the finals is a bit more competitive, and I could have done better for my finals, so I'll continue to train hard.
So you say this is a new format. It's going to be now systematic, even with the Asian Games, or...
Yes.
What about the SEA Games when we host it in 10 months from now?
It's throughout universal.
Wow, okay, good. Jasmine, coming back to you, what lessons did you learn from the London 2012 Olympic Games, especially when you finish, I believe, 29th in the 50-meter rifle 3 positions? I mean, what's changed for you in the last 2 years?
So prior to the London Games, I only had like maybe 1 year to prepare for it, and just like I feel that nothing can be achieved within a day, or if you really want success, it's really a long journey. You just have to be patient and wait for it, and at the same time train hard. So the last 2 years, I trained very hard, and I spent my time in the shooting range more efficiently, and I've moved on from that 29th place. I mean, it was a good start for me. It was my first Olympic Games, and I had a good experience there. So these 2 years, more patience, maybe I became wiser too. And I hope that the next 2 years will be even better, yeah.
And you were doing this while you were still pursuing your degree in NUS in business administration.
So that was a challenge because I had to juggle both sides, and now that it's over, I can fully concentrate on shooting, yeah.
In the final this time in Scotland, it was down to the very, very last shot to determine the winner of the gold medal. And in your final shot, you scored a 9.8 when Jen McIntosh, from Scotland, she fumbled with a 7.9. You won by a margin of only 3 points. I guess the question which everyone wants to know is what went through your mind before you took that very last shot. Jen had just took her last shot, 7.9. You could hear all the groans and moans, from the home crowd that were there, and then the commentators were just solely focused on you and to see whether you could pull it off. So what went through your mind?
So during that moment, after she shot, I heard some moaning sounds from the Scottish team, but I couldn't spend any more thought, like thinking, what did she shot, that kind of thing. And I really have only 50 seconds to do one shot, and I have to deliver within that 50 seconds.
That time period, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what went through my mind too. It was just focus and very focused, and I just need to deliver what I needed to do, and I never gave it a thought at all.
So are you saying that you were not able to look at her score? You just only had to focus on your target in front,
Yeah.
and just totally
Block off the distraction that they made, like the morning sounds or the chairs and everything. So I had to block it off and really take my focus back into that shot and shoot it first, then you see
then
what's
worry
going
later.
on. Yeah.
But from your vantage point, were you able to look at the score?
I was able to, but I didn't at all.
Okay. And then when finally you took that shot, you scored a 9.8. How did you feel? I guess you already knew that probably at that moment in time, the goal was in the bag.
So I think 9.8 is enough. Well, it's a good 9. It's not 9.1. 9.8 is enough well for the condition, because Glasgow weather was very windy and the winds were very strong, and it was very challenging. And I'm satisfied with a 9.8 for that shot. Yeah.
By watching from television, I couldn't tell that you were shooting in an outdoor range. Are you saying it was an outdoor range? I
Yeah.
kept assuming it was indoors.
So the difficulty in 50 meters lies in that it is an outdoor event.
Right.
And in the qualification round, you shoot in an outdoor 50-meter range.
Okay.
But in the international Olympic competition, right, the shooting competition, your finals are supposed to be in indoor range. So that, because in the finals there is a time limit there.
Okay.
So in an indoor range, you wouldn't have the external factors like wind to affect your time, the way you shoot. But what happens in this Glasgow is that even in the finals, you are shooting in an outdoor range. So when the wind factor comes in together with the time factor there, it makes it double difficult and double hard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the whole, you took part in 3 events. As you said earlier, you came back with 1 goal as opposed to 4 medals in 2010. Are you satisfied, disappointed, or okay with your performance in Scotland?
Well, I'm satisfied because I got a goal. I mean, this time around I took part in 3 events, but one of the events is not an Olympic event, like I told you. It's not an Olympic discipline, 50-meter rifle prone woman. So I rarely train for it, and I just want to represent Singapore and have a chance, you know. So I put more focus on my air rifle event and the 50-meter 3-piece. And so to be able to come in first for one is tough enough, and I'm satisfied. Yeah.
Okay. Let's come back to Jeanine. How would you sum up the achievements of Shun and Jasmine, starting first with Shun in Scotland?
Well, for Shun, it's been a very long and windy road, I think, for her over the past 8 years. But she's been a stalwart for the women's pistol team. She's been hanging in there for the past 1 year, and you can see that she's had a breakthrough. We just saw that there were signs that something was coming for her. Her results, you can see as some competitions go by, her scores were going up. Even for 25 meter, she did very well in the Commonwealth Games. She finished first in qualification, and we're very happy for her that she won this time. And it was just great that it was the first medal for Singapore at the Commonwealth Games, and it was gold. Yeah.
And as for Jasmine, were you quietly confident that she could deliver, considering that she bagged 2 gold and 2 silver at the last games in 2010?
With Jasmine, I'm never quietly confident. I'm very outwardly confident. She's been Singapore's face of shooting for a long time. It's not easy for her to carry this weight for the sport, and it's quite pressurizing. Every time she goes into a competition, the expectations on her are quite high. So I think for her to win the last medal after 2 disappointments in 10 meter and prone speaks of her maturity as a shooter. Yeah.
Very quickly, what would you say about Martina Veloso's 5th place finish in the 10 meter air rifle finals, and Li Yafei, who finished 5th in the 50 meter 3 positions final? Both
good finishes for sure. It's the first major competition for both of these shooters, and for Yafei, it's her first time competing in 50 meters 3P overseas. She's only been shooting the event for a year, and to get into the final, and the final is not easy considering the time constraints like Jasmine mentioned, so she did really well.
The target set by the association,
same as before.
Just get into the
finals, and anything can happen.
On that note, it's time for the news headlines, and when we return, we'll talk more about the shooting scene in schools, community engagement, and the Asian Games. So stay tuned to more Sports Zone right here on 938 Live.
everyone, I'm Teo Shun of Team Singapore's Shooting Squad, and you're listening to the guys on 938 Live Sports.
Welcome back to part 2 of SportsZone. I'm the Rajman, and today we are reviewing the performances of our national shooters from the Commonwealth and Youth Olympic Games and looking ahead to the Asian Games. And to tell us more about the current sport of shooting in Singapore, we have our national shooters Jasmine and Teo Shun Sieh, along with the high performance manager at our Singapore Shooting Association, Jeanine Heng. Now, in the first half of the show, we talked about the performances of our athletes at the YOG and the Commonwealth Games in Scotland. And to close the chapter on the Commonwealth Games, 4 years ago, Jeanine, our shooters came back with 11 medals, 5 of which were gold. That included a few from our men's team. This time round, however, the likes of Gai Pin and Po Lip Ming, they came back empty-handed. So upon reflection, what happened to the men's team?
I think we just have to acknowledge that they didn't perform up to expectation. But I guess the reminder to everyone is no shooter ever goes into a competition to do badly. Every shooter wants to go in to win. And it's just not that every day is a good day. So maybe just for them, this trip was just not lucky for them. Going into CWG for them is quite tough, having won so many medals before. So I think a lot of pressure was placed on themselves to try and get as many. But it's also difficult because we have less than half the number of events we had the last time. So some of the events that they had participated in and won medals in, those events didn't feature in these games.
Okay.
Yeah. So and they can't force themselves. You know, in shooting, if you force yourself to shoot a 10, it won't come. You can ask them. The more you force it, the more it won't come. So the more you want it, the more it won't come.
Shun Sieh, you were there, with your male teammates. In your opinion, why do you suppose they were sort of off target, if you were to say, this time around?
I don't really think they were really off target. I think they did well, but just that their competitor did slightly better.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe better luck next time.
Okay. On the note of the other competitors, Jasmine, would you say that the challenge from the other international shooters has risen considerably over the years, thus probably accounting for the lack of medals from our men's team?
Well, I'm sure the challenge has risen over the years, and as you can see, the Indians are really strong, and most of them are, I think they are full-time athletes. Like, the association places a lot of focus on shooting now, and more support are given to them, not just the Indians, the Australians and the English shooters. They are equally good, and that's why for our men's team to be able to perform their standard in the Commonwealth Games this time round, I think they are good enough, and yeah.
Shun Sieh, picking up on what Jasmine just said, have you noticed as to why the countries like India, England, Australia, they have some of the best sharp shooters in the world? I mean, the Indians did dominate the 25-meter air pistol final for women. What is it that they are doing anything different that we are not doing?
The Indians are really, really good, and the other countries are really very good as well. And I suppose they have a lot of support from government and other places. Like, from what I heard, when Bindra won the Olympics, he received the association received $10 million from the government as support. So
wow.
for many of us, we are coping with work, studies, and shooting at the same time. So what will really, really help, I suppose, will also be support from different areas and aspects.
Jeanine, let's touch on the sport of shooting in schools, the local schools. I'm surprised to know that Ahmad Ibrahim Secondary School seems to have a history because you've got Lee Yafei, who was from AI, along with Jasmine Sir, of course. And so what is special about this school, and does it have a tie-up with the Singapore Shooting Association?
Well, AI's produced a lot of good shooters over the years, for sure. We've worked very closely with them with this MOE JSA program, which is a primary school program, and they are the conveners for this program.
JSA is
Junior Shooting Academy.
Okay.
But I think their success and the success of other schools as well, West Spring, ACS, RI, Sports School, it's a lot to do with the dedication of the teachers and the principal in the school. Like, if the teachers in charge they have no issues going beyond their duty to open the shooting range at longer hours for the shooters. They don't mind coming back on weekends to bring them over to a local competition. It makes all the difference to the shooting team in the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of school and youth development, Jeanine, is the sport hindered by the lack of shooting ranges in various schools across the island, or is it the objective to focus on a very few elite schools together with the Singapore Sports School?
Yes, the expansion of shooting is hindered by the lack of ranges in Singapore. But we don't want to focus just on a few schools because we need to widen our base to get as much of a talent pool as possible. But basically, we're at capacity now for 10-meter events in schools, and shooting is only in 40 schools today. If we can spread them to a few hundred schools, that would like widen the base so big that we could get even more talents like Martina and all this coming up. The other breakthrough we need is to get small ball events like 25-meter, 50-meter shotgun into the schools. If we can do that, then we can do talent spotting for those events as well.
But what is the basic range or size or distance do you need in a school? My secondary school from 30 years ago, I think, had a 10-meter range. So for us, the NCC cadets or the NPCC cadets, we could use it.
Most schools have a 10-meter range. So it's only air weapons events. But air weapons events is only 4 or 15 events in the Olympic Games. So if we keep going with 10 meter, we're just limiting our potential to the 4 events. And those 4 events are the most difficult events to win medals in. So we need to widen it as much as possible to get as many people to shoot 50 and 25 meter. Yeah.
So what happens if there's a potential sharpshooter and he's not from one of the schools, the elite schools or that has a range or the facilities? How should he or she express their desire to try out for the national team?
We run 5 to 6 local competitions a year, and in order to get into the youth team or the national team, you need to register a score in these local competitions at least twice. So from there, what we do is that when the selection period comes, usually that's either January or May, and we'll just analyse all these scores from our local competitions and choose the best.
Shun, unlike Jasmine, who's been studying all this while until last December, and she's graduated from NUS, you have had to train and work as well with your job as a research officer with A-Star. How are you able to balance and juggle work and training?
Basically, to really just plan my time well, like have a fixed schedule, then whatever other places or whatever other things I want to go, I'll just plan around them. And also, of course, I'll have to have some sacrifices.
Does that include, you're 25, very young. Does it mean the sacrifices includes sacrificing your social life? As you consider, just focusing everything on work and training?
Yeah, definitely. So, whenever, if my family wants to plan for overseas trip, right, 4 people will have to accommodate my schedule instead of 1 person accommodating to the rest of the schedule. And if my friends wants to go out, they also accommodate to my schedule. So I'm actually very thankful for them.
Jasmine, you graduated about 9 months ago from NUS. You've been extremely lucky to be part of the SPECS scholarship program, which has allowed you to train full-time. As far as this year is concerned, your next mission, besides the Asian Games and the SEA Games in 2015, is, of course, the Rio Olympic Games in 2016. Having already competed in London 2012, what is your sole objective in 2 years' time in Rio?
To get into the finals for both my events and give me the chance to fight with the world best shooters.
When you say both your events, it's the 50-meter air rifle 3 positions event?
50-meter 3 positions and the 10-meter air rifles. Yeah. Okay. So I've been improving for my 50-meter 3 position event recently. And I only started recently in recent years. So I think there is a possibility, there's a high possibility of me improving further, and I want to bring it to the next level. Yeah.
Let's talk about training for a second. And I understand that you have to train at the National Shooting Range in Choa Chu Kang in the morning, and for a few hours, and then you have to travel all the way to Yishun to the Safra Clubhouse to train for another few hours. Why is that so?
This is because the 50-meter range is at the old Choa Chu Kang Road, right deep in the cemetery, and the 10-meter range is in the north in Safra Yishun Club.
I knew the answer. I just wanted you to say it. I wanted to hear the frustration from your voice.
There are 2 different ranges in the north and in the west, so deep into the cemetery. So I just have to travel when I want to shoot both events. Yeah.
But haven't you wondered? They built the 50-meter range in Choa Chu Kang. Why couldn't they build a 10-meter version also in Choa Chu Kang? It is of course called the National Shooting Center, right, or range? Yeah.
So I think they can build there, but I'm not sure if many people will want to travel so far.
Underutilization of the facility.
Yeah, to as in many, if other shooters will want to travel so far to Old Choa Chu Kang Road and just to shoot 10 meters, and maybe Jeanine can answer this better.
Jeanine, maybe there's a plan in the pipeline, to build a 50-meter range in the neighborhood. Then she doesn't have to travel all the way to Choa Chu Kang.
That's the ideal situation. It's the ideal situation is you have an accessible location with all disciplines in the same area.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's difficult because there's a reluctance to put a shooting range where there's a high human traffic. In a residential area, people don't like it if they keep hearing bang, 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 coming out from their kitchen. Yeah, and land, again, price of land in Singapore is really expensive. For a shooting range, you still need a rather big piece of land. We've had discussions.
So shooting off-island, Pulau Ubin, setting it something there?
Difficult for them.
While carrying the rifle across.
Shooters to travel across, yeah. But, we've come to the realization and acceptance that we may have to stay at Choa Chu Kang. And definitely there are talks now on building a 10-meter range there. So the talk...
Yeah. In
so
Choa Chu Kang.
Really now that seriously real serious talks about 10-meter range at Choa Chu Kang. So I guess the thing is make Choa Chu Kang as great a shooting range as possible that people won't mind coming there.
Yeah.
Because it's the best shooting range.
Singapore is already small. It's so small. You're connected by practically 100 MRT stations. And
not in Choa Chu Kang.
And, the expressways and all that. But I see the surprise on your two shooters, so they probably are not aware of this plan. But hopefully it works out. Now, staying with you, Jeanine, what does the NSA do at the community level to engage the public or those who were with the gun club in Singapore? To partake in activities. First off, maybe you can mention what is the gun club.
The gun club is just one of the component clubs in shooting. So we've got about 5 or 6 of them. Gun club and Rifle Association are 2 associations operating out the Choa Chu Kang range. So they do a lot of corporate shoots. A lot of walk-ins come into the range on a daily basis. So they deal with those walk-ins. We've also tried to do a lot of road shows and events where we can. Join like Active SG launch. We were there to try and showcase our weapons. And we are going
just showcasing the weapons.
No, we actually let them try. But they didn't fire bullets. They fired at a laser target.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we are now trying to plan a PA program to bring the community centres to Choa Chu Kang. So that's something that our bosses are trying to work with PA on. And even for Active SG, the $100 that is given to each Singaporean, we're trying to get us on that list so you can spend the $100 at the shooting range to try and come and use like a real 9mm gun or whichever gun you feel like coming to try.
Yeah. I would probably take up the option of the laser one. Is this a rather expensive sport to take up as a hobby or a leisurely activity?
Definitely expensive as a hobby. If you compare it to like basketball, badminton, definitely. But you need a club membership, a weapon, and you need to use up ammunition on a daily basis if you come and use the range. But people who are interested just don't mind paying this money. Yeah.
Especially when you also have paintball as another distraction.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's time for a traffic update, and when we return, we'll spend the last few minutes talking about the upcoming World Championships, the Asian Games, and the SEA Games. So stay tuned to more SportsZone right after Traffic Watch.
Hi Singapore, this is National Swimmer Joseph Schooling. Catch the latest news on Team Singapore on 938 Live.
Welcome back to the final stretch on SportsZone. I'm in the company of national shooters and gold medalists in Jasmine Sir and Teo Shun Xie, along with the high performance manager at Singapore's Shooting Association, Jeanine Heng. Now, just before we get into your projections of the next few competitions, Jasmine, there was an incident at the Glasgow Games whereby a Malaysian athlete was initially not allowed to compete due to a jacket. The jacket got lost in transit. There was no time to get a tailor-made replacement. Could you explain as to why was this such an urgent and crucial issue which is liable to prevent a shooter from competing? I mean, you prepare for 2-3 years and then a wardrobe malfunction or equipment malfunction.
And I think it is really disastrous for her. I mean, for us shooters, we are highly dependent on our equipment, especially the jacket and pants. And it's not like swimming. If you lost your trunks, you can like just get a replacement. For us, we have to tailor make and customize it. And so if we lost the jacket or pants, and if we can't, even if we use others, right, it's not customized to our body, and it will gives us we will lose out on the stability factor.
Okay.
So we'll be more unstable and
This jacket and pants equipment is for the air rifle competitors.
For all rifle
For all rifle competitors. But why is it so important? It's not like you're carrying magazines of 30 rounds each and got 4 like the.
Because you are training with it every day, and it gives you that advantage of allowing you to be more stable. But the thing is, every shooter is wearing it, so there's no extra advantage over other shooter. But of course, you should wear it because everybody else is having it. So when you lost your jacket and pants, you don't have any more equipment. There's no point shooting anyway. You see, because you are not going to get up there on the scoreboard. Yeah.
No, I'm trying to understand why is it so important to have this special jacket? What it's made of a special texture, fabric, or what?
It is made of canvas, and canvas gives you it's quite stiff. The jacket itself is quite stiff.
Okay.
So the stiffness is the one that lets you stabilize.
No recoil. Less
recoil and lets you stabilize yourself, and But then again, as I said, there's no extra advantage over other shooters.
Right. Have you, in all your years of shooting, I mean, going back all the way to secondary school, have you ever experienced this sort of a wardrobe or equipment malfunction in any of your professional tournaments that you've competed in?
Not so much for my jacket or pants that I have problems, but recently in January my tripod spoiled during one of the competitions.
Okay.
So tripod is another thing that I used to put my rifle on for support when I'm competing. So during that competition it broke down and my coach had to find a replacement one, and luckily I got one from the Russian team, so I was very thankful for it.
Oh, that's good. I mean that your fellow competitors were willing to help you out.
Yeah.
Can you confirm that even though you're a national shooter, you're allowed or not allowed to bring home your rifle?
Not allowed, of course.
Okay.
We are supposed to keep our rifles in the armory, and every shooting range in Singapore has an armory, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure of that, and
Then who does the maintenance and the cleaning of the rifle?
So we are the shooters are responsible for it. We are responsible, and we are supposed to clean it properly, and
Okay. You and Shun, you ever felt the need or the adrenaline to fire a more offensive-like weapon like an M16? I mean, for the guys like myself, for example, during national service, during reservists, we fired the M16, the M203 grenade launcher, the SAW, which is known as the section automatic weapon, the SAR-21 assault rifle, and the GPMG, the general purpose machine gun. After my NS days or reservist days, you go overseas, you can fire. Recently, I fired the shotgun, in a particular country, because I wanted to try and feel how Arnold Schwarzenegger feels in Terminator, and and a couple of years ago, another weapon, the AK-47. So in my whole life, I fired about 7 different weapons. But you two, being the national shooters, ever felt the need to try an offensive type of weapon? Shouldn't
Definitely.
Really?
Because
Okay.
for a pistol, most of the time we can only fire one shot at a time. So it would definitely be fun to feel how to spam the ammos and to spam the bullets out.
I think you just go overseas. I won't mention which countries. You can hold 2 pistols and be like Chow Yun-fat and in a John Woo movie and expend two pistols at the same time. Jasmine?
Well, I would like to try shotgun. I mean, shotgun has more and stronger recoil compared to my 2 other events. But I'm afraid that once I try it, I can't shoot the next day because the recoil is too strong.
Oh yeah, if the recoil is too strong, you should see what happens to the target board. For every round. Okay, coming back to reality, the World Championship in Spain is next month. Are you, Jasmine? Are you heading to compete? And what are your, are you heading to compete? And which events are you competing?
Oh, I'm competing, of course, and I'm shooting in the 10-meter air rifle woman events, and of course my 50-meter 3-position women's event, and they are the only 2 Olympic disciplines.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it.
And your targets for both of these events to reach the final at least?
To reach the finals, to give me a chance to fight on.
What about the Asian Games?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I'm competing in 3 events. There's an additional 50-meter prone, which I'm just,
Toying around.
Trying my chance. Yeah. Anyway,
No, but is that event an Olympic event?
no, it's not.
Okay. So it's similar to what you did in Glasgow.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, I'm looking forward to being in the finals and competing with the world number one.
And probably hope come back with a medal as well of any color. Shun, same question to you. Are you bound for the World Championships in Granada?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll be going to Granada as well, and then I'll be competing in a 10-meter air pistol and 25-meter sports pistol.
Okay.
Event.
Sports pistol.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the Asian Games?
Asian Games, same events, 10-meter air pistol and 25-meter sports pistol.
Okay. These are the same two that you won or that you competed in Glasgow, right? Yeah.
The same.
Jeanine, has the association set a target for our men to achieve at the Asian Games? We spoke about them at the start of this segment. So what is the target for the men?
We don't have to set a target for them. They're out to redeem themselves. Definitely. So, but as I mentioned before, we want them to get into the final as much as possible. And in Asian Games, we have team events.
Yeah.
So we're looking at not just the men, but everybody's looking at getting a team medal. Yeah.
Very quickly, looking ahead to the SEA Games, Shun, how important is it to win gold in front of the home crowd next year?
Definitely important. Like for every competition we go out to compete, regardless of where the venue is, we will definitely want to win, cause everybody competes to win. So hopefully, the SEA Games back in Singapore will be able to bring pride and glory back home.
Jasmine, it's been a long time since we have hosted a major games apart from the 2010 YOG. So competing in front of your home fans might either be a boost or a bane. Depending on how your mind adapts to the situation, which is it for you, a boost or more pressure to deliver in front of your fellow Singaporeans?
I think it's both a boost and more pressure, but this more pressure might be good pressure. So it depends on how individual athletes think. I think that competing in front of the home crowd is really an honor, and what is good in sports is that you have to enjoy the games, and that Singaporeans can come and watch our shooting. I think it is really an honor for me, and I will be enjoying the shoot next year. And
we'll be enjoying watching you compete as well, you and your fellow teammates. Jeanine, will let you have the last word. Is the Shooting Association working with the Sports Institute to arrange for motivational psychologists to work with the national athletes, especially before the SEA Games in 10 months' time?
Yeah, so we have been. You've been spying on us. We've been in talks with SSI. They've already planned a series of talks for the general athletes who are going to SEA Games. But we are also exploring opportunities to identify someone's shooting specific, maybe from the US or UK, to come and help our shooters. Yeah.
Okay. On that note, we've come to the end of this special edition of Sports Zone. A big thank you to national shooters Jasmine Sir and Teo Shun Sieh, along with the high performance manager at Singapore's Shooting Association, Jeanine Heng. Congratulations on your achievement so far, and we hope you'll continue to do your best and do Singapore proud at the World Championships, at the Asian Games, the next SEA Games, and even at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. We are, of course, behind you guys every step of the way. So till the next time, I'm the Rajman. This has been Sports Zone on 9-3 Live. Take care and bye for now.